Peace and blessings. Welcome back to the channel once again, where we talk all things health and healing from a holistic perspective. And today will be no different. Today, I'm going to give you 8 ways that you can transition to a healthier diet and lifestyle. Okay. Most people are under the assumption that their health is predetermined. Most people are under the assumption that nothing could be done about the food system. It's all bad. Most people are under the assumption that if my mom had it or my grandmother had it or it runs in my family, it's going to run in me. And it doesn't work that way, okay? It does not work that way. 95% of all chronic illnesses are due to lifestyle, not your genetics, okay? And that means that we have an opportunity to change that. We have an opportunity not only to change that within ourselves, but we also have an opportunity to break those generational curses of dis-ease in our families as well too. And that's really the journey that I've been on. You know, I've told you guys on multiple occasions that I was diagnosed with high blood pressure when I was 16. I won't say everybody in my family has high blood pressure, but if you don't have it, it's unusual. Diabetes runs rampantly on both sides of my family. Kidney disease, autoimmune conditions, the list goes on and on and on. So getting diagnosed at 16, I even fell into that trap or thinking that, okay, well, it runs in the family, okay? But what I can tell you is that once I started this journey for myself and I started to see the healing, not only see it, but experience it. Not only experience it in the sense of, hey, your blood pressure is normal, but to experience what it feels like to lose 45 pounds, because I lost 45 pounds. What it feels like to have normal blood pressure and not get headaches. To be able to sleep sound at night and not have to worry about going on a CPAP machine. You know, to experience that difference, that shift that occurred in me once I changed up my lifestyle, changed up my eating habits and my lifestyle, it changed everything for me. So for me, once you're on the other side of the fence and you've experienced that side of the fence, it's like, there's no way I can go back to that. And today, what I'm going to be sharing with you is a culmination of 13 to 14 years of an experiment on me as the guinea pig of figuring out not only how to eat healthy, but also how to make it fun, how to make sure the food is still delicious, because I like the taste of good food too, but also like how to age gracefully as well too. You know, one of the most common things I get from people is that a lot of times people will think that, you know, if I go on a college campus to play basketball or something like that, a lot of the kids are thinking like, they'll call me OG, but they're OG, they're thinking like I'm in my late 20s or something. So huge compliment to be able to not only age gracefully from the outside, okay, but also from the inside too, as well too. So I'm going to be sharing with you a combination of a 13 to 14 year experiment on myself and trying this and seeing how it doesn't work and then trying that, and also me traveling the world and learning what other people do in other countries. And this is, you know, I've been to over 70 countries, you know, learning how people use this for that and this herb for that and, you know, this root for this. And they drink this in the morning, but they do this when they get this type of ailment. It's been a beautiful process. So I'm going to share a little bit of that. But before I do, most importantly, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you have not already. Share this content with other people out there, because there are so many people who are looking to transition to a healthier lifestyle and a healthier diet. They just don't know where to start. And that's where we're going to start today. Is I'm going to talk about some of the biggest barriers that people have to adopting a healthier lifestyle. Okay, because if you don't know what the barriers are, when you hit them, you're just going to turn around and go the other way, because you're going to say there's no way I could do this. But if you understand what those barriers are, once I start to give you some of these tips, they'll make sense to you. Okay, so barrier number one that I most often hear from people, because again, when I see people out or I see them at my events, emails, DMs, etc., when I ask people, they'll say, hey, what do I do for this condition? What herb do I use? Or what food should I use? And I'll say, well, have you changed your entire diet? And they're like, oh, I haven't did that yet. Okay. Number one, the number one barrier is that people don't want to give up the foods that they air quote love. Okay. They don't want to give up the food that they love, using air quotes. The reason why I'm using air quotes is because a lot of the times the foods that they love, they don't love them. Those are the foods that are actually causing their conditions. It's causing the gut issues. It's causing the inflammation, systemic inflammation all over the body. It's causing you to have high blood pressure. It's causing you to have issues with, autoimmunity. A lot of the times, it's the foods that we air quote love is the very same foods that are actually killing us. Okay? So I always tell people, you have to keep it real with yourself. You have to ask yourself, sit down with self and say, hey, self, let me look at all the foods I love. Okay? Now, I love these foods. Now, let me keep it real with myself for a second. Do these foods love me? Okay? And what does that mean? Do these foods make me have a healthier gut? Do these foods make my blood thin so it doesn't clot and I don't end up with a stroke or a heart attack? Do these foods provide antioxidants and vitamin C and things that boost my immune system? Do these foods feed my microbiome? Okay? It's so important to know and understand that you have to have these inner conversations with yourself, because if you're not having them with yourself, you'll never question the fact that you love this food that is actually toxic to you. You're literally in a toxic relationship with food. Okay, so it's just important to do the inner work first, because again, like, you'll be ready to ride for some of the food that is actually the very thing while you're struggling inside of your body with chronic illnesses from A to Z. Okay, hormonal imbalances, etc. Okay, so number one barrier is that people don't want to give up the foods they air quote love, but don't love them because they're in a toxic relationship. The number two reason is because people say they don't know how to eat healthy. Well, I don't know how to eat healthy, doc. I mean, I've been eating this way all my life. And so I don't know what to do. Okay, that's fine. You don't know what to do. I wrote a book called Vegetation Over Medication. I detail what you should do. Okay, we're going to talk a little bit about that later, but the important reason why I'm bringing that up is because that's one of the reasons that people often say, well, I don't know what to eat. Okay, a lot of times they see my videos and I'll tell them about something that is very unhealthy for them. They're like, well, I can't eat nothing. What am I supposed to eat? There are over 80,000 edible plants in the world. Okay, and most people eat like 20 of them. All right, of the 80,000. So it's important to know that, yeah, you probably don't know what to eat, but we live in the age of information. There's books I've written, other people have written, there's YouTube channels like myself that you can go on and learn more about foods. I do videos about foods that are healing as well too. Okay, so to say you don't know is an excuse, it's not a reason. Okay? And the reason why I say it's an excuse, not a reason, is because you can solve it. If you can solve a reason, then it means it's an excuse. Okay? If there's a solution for a reason, then it means it's just simply an excuse. Okay? So hugely important. Don't make an excuse for you being unhealthy. Okay? Don't make an excuse for you being unhealthy. Not having knowledge is not a reason, it's an excuse, okay? Because you can always gain knowledge, especially in the age of information. All right, number three reason I hear people say, well, I won't even say this is what people say, but this is really what it is. The number three barrier to adopting a healthier lifestyle is immature taste buds. Your taste buds are immature. You have the taste buds of a 5-year-old, okay? And you know how 5-year-olds are. Just keep it real. They want what they want, and if they can't get it, they won't eat anything, okay? But you're an adult, and because you have means, then you're gonna have what you want, or you're not gonna eat it, okay? I've seen people like literally go pick up something healthy, or make it at home, make something healthy, a healthy meal at home, prepared, they're excited, they eat it, and then they're like, damn, I still want the wings. So then what do? Get on Uber Eats and order up the wings. Okay? And it's really not you. What it is your taste buds are so immature. They have no experience with real food. Okay? So when you eat real food, your taste buds are saying like, yeah, I don't know what that is. Okay? When it should know exactly what it is. But immature taste buds is why you have the unhealthy cravings. Immature taste buds is what making you eat foods that you know you shouldn't be eating when you said you wasn't going to eat it, but you still eat it anyway. So immature taste buds is another barrier as well too. And that's a huge barrier because your taste buds are literally controlling what you think. So this is why I tell people it's so important to periodically do my detox, because that's one of the things you'll notice after doing my detox, your taste buds are different. Okay. And then the number 4 reason I'll say is because people say, I don't know how to make plants taste good like you, Doc. I mean, I've seen some of your videos, like you look like you know what you're doing. Now, let me tell you something. The first thing I'm going to tell you about that, I probably not only grew up eating all of the foods, the unhealthy foods that you guys have been eating, but I air quote love those foods too. As a matter of fact, I would say before I went on this journey, if you'd have asked me about eating half of the foods that I eat today, first of all, I wouldn't even knew what they were. That would have been the first thing. Second of all, I would have just told you, hell no, I'm not eating it. And then third of all, my taste buds would have rejected it because they were so immature. Okay. So it's just really important to understand that I started where you are. Okay. I started where you are. And because of my commitment to not only my health, but to be an example for you, my family, and everybody I love and want to encourage to eat healthier so that they could be healthier, so that people can prepare their families, their children, to create generations of generational health as well too. That's what inspired me to say, I gotta figure this out. And here's the thing. Whenever you really want something, like fellas, if there's a lady out there, if you really want her, you're gonna do what you need to do. Ladies, if there's a guy or a purse or, a job or a degree you want to go after and you really want it, you're gonna get it. All right. So you got to have the same mentality when it comes to your health. You got to remember self-care is healthcare. Self-care is self-love. Okay. So how you eat is how you treat yourself. Okay. So treat yourself. Don't cheat yourself. All right. Hugely important. But saying you don't know how to make plants taste good, that's nonsensical, because here's the thing. And this is the truth. If you really can keep it real with yourself, all of the foods that you eat right now, the only reason they taste good is because of plants. All right, just think about it for a second. If you eat chicken, if you eat steak, it doesn't matter what you eat. To make it taste good, you got to put plants on it. All right? All right, doesn't matter what your seasonings are, they're plants. Okay? And from nature. Okay, even if it's salt. Okay, so whatever you're putting on that food, what's making it taste good is the plant. If you remove the plants from the meat or whatever it is you're putting together, if you remove the plants, it tastes like garbage. All right, so the plants taste good. I mean, it's just a matter of, it's like chemistry. Like me, I'm a science mind. So I look at it like chemistry. If you put the right combinations together, you get something good. All right. It's the same thing in the kitchen. So if you don't have my recipe book, go check out my recipe book, over 70 recipes. You can check that out. That's a really great start. Dr. Bobby's recipes on my website, drbobbyprice.com. You can check that out. I also have another cookbook coming out, hopefully in December. That one's going to be amazing as well too. But there's no excuse, because you can find recipes, you can get in the kitchen, start the trial and error and figure it out. Okay, so that's not an excuse here either. All right, so let's get into these 8 tips I'm gonna give you for not only tips for what to replace and swap out, in terms of food, but also give you a lifestyle tip as well too. That's going to help you not only have a healthier diet, but a healthier lifestyle, because those two things go hand in hand. If you have an unhealthy lifestyle, okay, but you eat healthy, you're still going to be unhealthy. If you have a healthy, lifestyle, but don't have a healthy diet, you're still going to be unhealthy. So they go hand in hand. They're one and the same. Okay, they're different words, but they're one and the same. All right. So the first replacement I'm going to give you, okay, the first replacement I'm going to give you is switch out rice for quinoa. Okay. Quinoa is actually not a grain. And the reason why I'm asking you to switch out the rice for the quinoa is for the fact that when rice goes into your body and it begins to break down, it breaks down into sugar. Okay, for a lot of you, you're already consuming far too much sugar, and you don't even know how much sugar you're consuming. And I find that a lot of people are under the assumption that they haven't consumed a lot of sugar because they don't eat a lot of sweets. But sugar is in breads, it's in pastas, it's in grains, it's in sweet potato, it's in a lot of things. It's in rice. Okay, so one of the healthy substitutes that you can have is this quinoa. Okay. And quinoa is actually not a grain at all. It's actually a seed. Okay, so this is the perfect sort of substitute for rice for me. So a lot of times when I'm getting something that would normally come with rice, I'm picking up the quinoa instead. All right, so that's swap number one, replacement number one. Number two, all right, so I'm going to show you. A lot of people will say, well, I get it on both sides. I get people who ask me, hey, doc, I know you don't eat meat, but why are you trying to eat stuff that tastes like meat? Well, to be honest with you, it's not a matter of eating something that tastes like meat. What you're trying to get is textures, okay? What you're trying to get is taste, okay? So if you get the taste and you still get, you get the taste that you're happy about, and you get a lot much more, nourishment in the process, and you didn't get the toxicity in the process, then it's a win-win. All right. So one of my sort of meat replacements is lion's mane mushroom. So this is lion's mane mushroom. Okay. And for me, this is my steak replacement. So let's say for instance, I was making fajitas. Let's say for instance, I wanted to make a steak. Lion's mane mushroom will be my replacement. And when I tell you, I have had friends who came over and I made this, and they looked, as soon as they took one bite into it, the way I cook it, as soon as they took one bite into it, they looked at me like, wait, is this meat? And again, I know there's people out there who are like, come on, bruh. But I'm just trying to tell you, I've had friends who are not vegan, who are not plant-based. They come over, I cook, I'll share some stuff with them, and they say, oh, this is a perfect replacement. If I could get this, I wouldn't even have to eat steak. Okay, so mushrooms are a perfect replacement, all right? And that's one of them, lion's mane mushroom, okay? So you could do that as a replacement as well too. And lion's mane is a medicinal mushroom, most importantly. So it's not only gonna satisfy the taste bud, but it's actually not only medicinal, but it's hugely important for our immune system as well too. So incorporating lion's mane is a game changer, all right? Number three replacement is you probably need to, and I had to learn this on my journey, you probably need to replace some of those green leafy vegetables that you're eating, okay? Some of them are smothered with pesticides. I'll talk about that in a second. Some of them just aren't as nourishing as the one I'm about to share with you, and there are many more. But I write in my book, Vegetation Over Medication, a lot about, and this is why I'm saying you should definitely read the book, is because I write about how a lot of there are plants out there that don't agree with everybody, okay? And this is why it's so important to have diversity in your diet, to switch things up. But what I find is people are eating the same thing over and over. Okay. And one of the perfect examples of that is spinach. Spinach seems to be the go-to green leafy vegetable for everybody. They're putting it in their smoothies, they're putting it in their salad, they're cooking it on the stove. Like that's the one thing they go to every time. But what most people don't know about spinach, and I'll have to make a separate video about this, is that it contains oxalic acid, which is really bad for the kidneys. And so I'll break that down in another video, but replacing some of those green leafy vegetables is really going to be important, but also just incorporating green leafy vegetables is going to be very important. So I'm going to give you two that you probably have not used or are familiar with, and some of you are. This is dandelion leaf, okay? This is dandelion leaf, okay? Dandelion is a bitter green, so keep that in mind. It's the bitters that heal you, okay? It's that taste bud, again, going back to the taste buds that you're resistant to. Those are the ones that are truly going to heal you, okay? So I like to incorporate some bitters in my diet, and one of the ways that I get that is with dandelion. So I'm incorporating this not only in my salads, but I also incorporate this in some of my juices and some of my smoothies as well too. So that's dandelion leaf, okay? All right, the next one may not be as familiar to some of you, but if you're from the Caribbean, you're definitely familiar with this one. This one is callaloo, okay? You can see this is the distinguishing thing that shows you that this is callaloo, okay? So I love callaloo as a green, both cooked, both in a salad, and it's super nourishing for you, okay? So I love callaloo. It's one of my favorite greens, so I'm always incorporating this one as well too, okay? Same ways. You can cook it, you could put it you could use it as a juice, you can use it in a smoothie, you name it, all right? Same ways you use the other, but it's just important to get some of that diversity, different types of greens. Stop eating spinach all the time. Again, I'm gonna make a separate video for that. All right, so callaloo, all right? Shout out to all my Caribbean people, especially my people from Jamaica, all right? All right, so that's another replacement. All right, so dandelion leaves, the callaloo, that's a good replacement. Number 4, all right? The number 4 replacement I got for you is ginger shots for energy drinks. If you want to get a boost of energy into your body, if you want to add heat to your body to get your circulation going, ginger is the way. Ginger root. All right, so ginger root, make sure you get it organic. All right, we'll talk about that in a second as well too. But I make these ginger shots. Now, here's what's important. You're gonna buy ginger shots at the store, and when you get them, they are not going to look like this, okay? When you juice ginger, it literally looks like a milky yellow like this, all right? I just juiced this, all right? When you take this, let me tell you, I've done videos where I showed you, I took a ginger shot. It's gonna bring a heat to the body, all right? But that's a good thing, all right? That's what's gonna open up the flow of the body. That's what's gonna add heat to the body, all right? That's what's gonna be nourishing to the gut. Anti-inflammatory as well too, so it's perfect before you go to a workout. I take a ginger shot before I go on a workout. You don't wanna be doing these energy drinks of any kind, okay? I don't care what it's called, but you don't want to be doing these energy drinks because they're filled with caffeine and they're filled with sugar, okay? And some of them are filled with things that shouldn't even be in food products, okay? I've seen a lot of celebrities who have binged on these energy drinks, and a lot of them have ended up having heart attacks, okay? And a lot of people don't even know that these energy drinks can lead to you having a heart attack. There's a famous guy who was on YouTube who was well known for drinking energy drinks, not only, during his videos, but period. And I know that a lot of truck drivers do it too. And, a lot of them end up having heart attacks. And it's well known and documented that these things can cause you to have irregular heartbeat, but also a heart attack too. I've even seen it in kids as well too, teenagers who are binging on these energy drinks. So switch it out for the ginger root. Okay. All right. So that's for the energy drinks. Switch that out. Next thing is switch out the regular salt for the sea salt. Okay. Regular salt for the Celtic salt. All right. Don't do the regular degular. All right. Get the Celtic salt. All right. The reason why is because the regular salt is chemical salt. Okay. It's not from nature. It's not from the ocean where real salt comes from. All right. It's not from a salt mine, most of it. It's chemical salt. As opposed to Celtic salt actually has minerals in it. All right. Somewhere between 70 and 80 minerals in Celtic salt. Okay. So you're not only using the salt for the purposes of, hey, this is going to load me up with minerals and vitamins, but also this salt is really good for balancing fluid in the body. When you look at salt chemically, it's NaCl, sodium chloride. All right, so the sodium is the portion that's going to help control the fluid balance in the body. The chloride is going to be added to the stomach. Why is that important? Because that's going to help increase the acid in the stomach, which is going to make it easier for your stomach acid to break down food. All right, so salt is actually important. I used to think that salt was the devil because that's what we were being told. But the real devil of salt is the chemical salt that they produce, and they put in all processed foods. All right, hugely important. So you want to switch out the regular degular salt for the Celtic salt, sea salt. All right, that's a huge game changer. All right, number six, the number 6 replacement is go organic so you don't have to panic. All right. When I tell you they literally spray everything, okay, if it's not organic. And I'm going to keep it real with you. Some of the stuff that is actually organic, the USDA gives them a margin of 20% with it. 20% can be sprayed, okay? Now, if you choose the right brand who is honorable, it's going to be 100% organic. But at least when you get organic, the hope is that, well, at most you're getting 20%. All right. And I think that's really important. So again, there are dishonorable people out there. Okay. I don't do that on my farm. And the reason why I don't do it on my farm at iHeart Fruit Box is because I eat what's on my farm. Okay. So whatever you're getting, I eat. And I would never poison myself. I see other farms in the area who do spray their crops. And when they're out there spraying their crops, they're in hazmat suits. I see them out there spraying. Now, if you got to be in a hazmat suit, body fully covered, okay, ventilating your breathing while you're spraying this, okay, how could that ever be good for your body? Okay, and what people don't realize is that a lot of the issues that people are having today are related to the amount of pesticides, herbicides, and insecticides that are being sprayed on a lot of the crops today. All right. It's not like it was when great-grandmother was around and growing up. All right. Almost 99% of food chemicals, okay, and it's 10,000 plus food chemicals, are green lighted, which means are approved by food and chemical companies, agricultural companies, not the FDA, since 2000. Since the year 2000, it's the food and chemical companies, which in most cases, they're the same, okay? A lot of the food companies are actually chemical companies. They are owned by chemical companies, all right? So a lot of times what they're doing is they're buying out the food companies and then they're using the chemicals that they create, these agrochemicals, and they're spraying everything. Okay, so 99% of food chemicals that are being sprayed and used in foods are approved and green lighted by the food companies and the chemical companies, not the FDA. The FDA is not green lighting them. All right, so just imagine if you walk into the bank and you give them some money and they say, well, I'm going to keep it in my mind how much money you gave me. All right. And every time you came back, they're like, well, I think you gave me like $200 last time, right? And they're like, nah, I gave you $450. And they're like, nah, I remember 200. And you're going back and forth with them. And they're like, well, you gave me 200. And there's nothing you could do about it. All right. So that's this, to me, it's the same thing when you start thinking about these food and chemical companies. The FDA is literally allowing them to check their own homework. And when they're putting these chemicals in food, it is not for the benefit of you as the customer. It's for the benefit of them as a company. All right, to get a higher yield, for the food to last longer in the store, stay redder longer, purple longer, or whatever, greener longer, or whatever it may be. All right, but it's not for you and your health. All right, so the EWG, which is the Environmental Work Group, is an organization that is essentially like a watchdog. And they created a list called the Dirty Dozen. And on this list of Dirty Dozen, it's the dozen of foods, which is really far more than 12, but there's a dozen of foods that you must buy organic, okay? An example of those are like strawberries. You should never, ever, never, ever, never buy strawberries not organic, okay? There have been tests done on strawberries, and they would literally juice the strawberries to see how much chemicals are in the strawberries. And it was so much pesticides and herbicides and insecticides in the strawberries that they literally could use the juice that was in the strawberry to spray the crops again. Okay? So strawberries is actually number one in terms of like what you should always buy organic. Never get it if it's not organic. Okay? They found over 22 different pesticides in strawberries. Okay, that's just strawberries by itself. Spinach is the second highest rank Dirty Dozen. Okay, spinach unfortunately is not only on the Dirty Dozen list, but again, I talked about it earlier in terms of like having those oxalic acid chemicals in it as well too that are natural to the plant. Okay, but it's highly sprayed. Okay, so this is another reason why I'm saying you got to switch out the spinach as well too. Apples and pears, but especially apples, and they're always ranked near the top as well too. They highly sprayed apples, but also now we got to worry about this A-peel. Okay, it's literally a plastic coating that is wrapping around the apple that looks like you can't even see it. You won't even notice that it's on the apple. But if you take a knife and just gently scrape the skin of the apple, you'll see this white coating start to come off. Okay? And that's an A-peel coating. All right? So it's really important to, when you get apples, get them organic first, but also check and see if that the brand of the apple, which is on the sticker, check to see if that company uses A-peel. Okay? Hugely important, because those the chemicals that are in that A-peel have not been studied, okay? And in many cases, many people have found that they're very detrimental to the not only the gut, but they're detrimental in terms of like being inflammatory into the entire system as well too. So apples are on that list, grapes are on that list, kale is on that list. Again, buy these, always get these organic. Bell peppers on that list, okay? Always get these organic, okay? They will, if you don't get them organic, they will be sprayed with pesticides, okay? Hugely important, all right? Or if you don't get them from somebody you know that grows them organic but may not have the sticker of organic, okay? So hugely important. So I always get my bell peppers organic. Always, always, always. Especially when I make like stuffed bell peppers, like that's usually where I get them. Okay, and these are higher in vitamin C than an actual orange. Okay, that's hugely important as well too. Tomatoes, potatoes, if you eat them, and blueberries as well too. Those are all just some of the foods that are on that dirty dozen list that are highly sprayed with pesticides, herbicides, and insecticides. So go organic so you don't have to panic. That's the number 6 switch. Number 7, switch out your multivitamin for sea moss or green smoothie. Now the reason why I say that is because, so this is my sea moss, or I do a green smoothie every day. The reason why I say that is this. Most multivitamins are just expensive urine, okay? You're not really soaking up much of anything, and what you are soaking up is synthetic. It doesn't actually come from a natural space. So I always tell people, real recognize real. All right. The body can be tricked, initially, and seeing something and saying, oh, that's vitamin A. This is a good thing. And then eventually it says, oh, that's not vitamin A. And that's when you notice something stops working after you've taken it for a little while. So for me, I always tell people supplements are just that. They are a supplement to. Okay? What are they a supplement to? The foundation, which is your healthy diet. All right? The foundation is where you should be getting these things from. So if you wanted to get a multitude of multivitamins and minerals, etc., then sea moss is perfect for that. All right. It's not only loaded with vitamins and minerals, but it's loaded with fiber as well too. It's loaded with an amino acid called taurine. Okay, that is really, really good for you as well too. So for me, I try to get everything that I grew up thinking like I needed to take Flintstone vitamins. Like I said, all right, let me figure out where I can get this from food. That's how you have to look at this. That's the switch out. So for me, it's sea moss. So I make that into a gel and I use that. Sometimes I freeze it into ice cubes. And then when I'm ready for it, I put it in my smoothies. I put it in my tea. Sometimes I put it in recipes as well too as a binder. So let's say if I'm going to make some alkaline cornbread, I use that as a binder as well too. And so I'm going to be getting that on all those vitamins and minerals, etc. But most importantly, I'm going to be getting iodine, which is hugely important because sea vegetables and fruits usually don't have a lot of iodine. You have to get iodine from something that comes from the sea. Okay, so typically that's some sort of algae, some sort of seaweed for me. So for me, that's Irish sea moss. Okay. All right, number 8 and the last one. This is a lifestyle hack. Switch out the sedentary for something like movement and reading. Let me give you an example of what to do, and then we're going to get out of here. All right, so if you need to do an analysis on yourself. Big word, but all that means is you need to check yourself for your record self. All right, so if you look throughout your day, you need to count how many hours of the day that you're sitting, okay? You need to count the hours of how long you're sitting when you're at work. You need to count the number of hours or time that you're sitting when you're in a car on your way to work or wherever you're going to. You need to count the amount of time you're sitting when you get home and chill and you're on the couch. Count all of that time. I had somebody count up that amount of time. I had somebody count up to 13 hours. All right, now just picture that, 13 hours, all right? So they counted like, okay, when I was at work, I worked 9 hours at work, and 9 of those hours I was sitting down. 8 of those hours they were sitting down. All right, they were like, then my commute to work and from work was another like total of 1 hour and 30 minutes, okay? Put that in there, almost 10 hours. All right, then when they got home and chilled, the rest of the day, they spent another 3 to 4 hours, either sitting on the couch or laying on the couch, etc., etc. So they had spent 13 hours that they did not realize that they were sitting on their butt. And they were doing that on average, and that number went up on the weekends. Okay, you cannot sit for that amount of time and expect to be healthy. Okay, even I had to come to this realization. So like some of the things that I do, this video has been going about 40 minutes, so it's time for me to get up. But every 30 to 40 minutes, I make sure I get up. Okay, I'll do like 10 jumping jacks. I'll do some, push-ups. I may do some squats. I may just stand up instead of just sitting down. Okay. So sometimes I watch a football game, I watch a basketball game, but I watch it standing up. Okay. Then I periodically sit down. So switch out some movement for the sedentary. All right. I tell people if you're say for instance, if you know that you're sitting for at least 12 hours a day, all right, which is a big number, all right, but 12 hours, at least 33% of that, 1/3 of that needs to be, I need to get up. Okay. The other thing is that I tell people switch in terms of like switching out to sedentary. All right. So you got to trade some of the idiot box hour. I call it the TV, the idiot box, or the cell phone today is the new TV. So go on your phone. Look how much time you're spending on your phone during a week. It usually gives you a weekly report. Most people are shocked when they find out 5 hours a day they're literally doing this with their phone with two hands, right? All right. Now just imagine this for a second. What does this look like you're doing? All right. 5 hours a day you're doing this. It looks like you're praying. All right. Now, you know what's very unique, really unique about cell phones is the fact that they're called cell phones. All right. So that's the first thing. The other thing that's very unique is only two groups of people call their customers users. All right. Drug dealers. All right. And cell phone companies. Look at what they say, the user, all right, when they talk about cell phones. Now imagine you're doing this for 5 hours, 7 hours a day to this device, being programmed, having EMF radiation coming off of it 5 hours a day, locked in, all right? What I want you to do is replace that with a book, all right? So dig out, if it's 5 hours, dig out at least an hour where you say, all right, for an hour, I got to read. And I'll tell you, initially, it's going to be difficult for you to read because most people can't read because they're so used to strolling. They're so used to being entertained that when you actually have to read a book, most people's mind can't focus long enough. So switch out some of that time for reading as well, too. Self-development, growth, etc., spirituality. All right, so I hope this has been helpful. I know that this was a long video today, but I thought this will be really helpful for you guys as well, too. So make sure you share this with people because I'm not only trying to change your life, I'm trying to change your life around you as well, too, with the people you're around, okay? Hugely important. This is why I'm saying, like, everything isn't just about you. It's about when you change you become literally the example, the walking, living example that inspires somebody else to do the same, okay? You become literally a student of life, which is, why I titled the book Life is My Guru, because I really do believe, life is always teaching us. So make sure you share this video with somebody because we want to make this type of content go viral. All right. Make sure you hit that subscribe button, hit that like button so that I know that you like this kind of content and it matters. And last thing, one, I'm having a group detox. All right. So if you missed out on my last group detox, I'll only do a group detox 3 times a year. Okay. I do one in my last one that I just finished up was in September. The one before that was in May. Okay, and the one before that will be in January. So I'll be having my next group detox in January. If you missed out on it, you probably missed out on it because you heard me tell you about it now and then you waited and then the deadline, you missed it and then you weren't able to be in it. I'm gonna put the link in the description below so that you'll be able to learn more about that. And also, if you are interested in me maybe doing a webinar where I teach you sort of how to bulletproof your lifestyle, I'm thinking I may do one in December for everybody. This way, like maybe we do it on like a Zoom call with everybody. If you're interested in that, and because here's the thing, I gave you like 8 tips today. In a webinar, I could give you 50, but I could also talk about how to lower your blood pressure, how to balance your hormones, how to work out, things of that nature too. If you're interested in that, put that in the comments. Also tell me what you learned in this video as well too. All right. So until the next time, peace and blessings and Godspeed.